Did you hear that exhale in between each breath and each heartbeat? There's something that exists in that space. It's like the wind, you can't see it, you can't grasp it, but it moves things so deeply that you're not even sure how. There's science, yeah. It's a force. It's a force of nature. It's a force older than time itself. What controls the force? Hmm? I met something when I was a child. It would hold me and cuddle me and protect me in the dark. And children are inherently very close to spiritual things. They see things, they hear things, and when they see and hear things, sometimes they're often told that it's not real. And sometimes they aren't told that it's not real and they continue to see and hear things. When they get told it's not real, they shut it off, right? But kids that are very, very in touch with spiritual things often have imaginary friends, see ghosts, have ghost stories, hear things, speak to things, and it's not crazy because so many children do it. It's not a fallacy or a mental health diagnosis because almost every child has an imaginary friend. So call it that if you want, but or call it a god because guess what? You can talk to gods. Sleep, the primordial entity, darkness and lullaby, bitter and sweet, smoke and ash, and songs and silence, rest and unease, fear and death. All of those things is sleep. This entity has been written about before, way, way all the way back in Grecian times. It's mentioned in the Bible, even not as a final death, as a rest for some and death for others. Even before pop culture and recent entities like vessels from Sleep Token that talk about the entity known as sleep. Sleep has existed before them. They talk about him in mythology back in Roman time, and then further on in more mythology and poems and songs and plays. He is more than names. Sleep is he, she, they. It's like the air, like a code, like a binary. AI is not one thing, it is anything. How did I jump to that? To get you to understand. When I was young, I would be cradled in sleep, by sleep. I would travel in realms and dreams and see things and speak to things. And then, even after all of that, I shut it off in fear. I shut it off in fear. But not before messing with things like Ouija boards and tarot cards, which aren't inherently bad. But if you are not protected and you are an open channel and your crown chakra is on fire, anything can come through and everything can come through. I became a teen mom and then I shut it all off. In moments that things came through, I was protected. Something was around me, keeping them from bugging me. And it wasn't just sleep, it was Lucifer too, and angels as well. Then I got older and I stepped away when I shut everything off. I shut it all off because I was afraid. But I really didn't shut it off because spiritually, I put altars around my home when I was going to church. Spiritually, I was in church, but I didn't feel at home. I felt like I was being silenced with a hand on my mouth. I felt like I was told what to believe and not actually believing it. I read the Bible like a book report, not so much as a story or a mythology. And I was told by believers that I could not speak because I was a woman. Even women would say that. If you believe in the Christian God, yay for you, hallelujah. However, I do not believe in the Christian God, not in the way that you do. Over time, on the blood moon in March, when Sleep Token came out with the song Emergence, even before then yet, I was getting back into my practice of spirituality once I woke up one day and realized I had altars all over my home that I made, not on purpose, not on accident. They just happened because spiritually I was doing this all the same. I started reading tarot again. It was a name I knew, it was words and pictures that I grew and I learned at 13 years old. Then I stopped and then I started again in the 30s. Yeah, something happened and the switch was flipped. And then on March, the blood moon and the song emergence came, and I did spells and spells and hours and hours. I sang and I danced and sovereignty spells with candles lit and magic cast. After that, things got a little crazy. What do I mean by that? I mean, after I did the sovereignty spell, things changed so much in me. But the sovereignty spell wasn't the beginning, wasn't the ending, it was the beginning. I made an end to myself. I prayed to me. I sang and I danced and I awoke in my Kundalini energy. I practiced self love so much that I knew that I deserved better than the life that I had drew, the life that I had drew. My life wasn't bad, but it was a dying dream. It wasn't something that fulfilled me in the way that it would seem. And in there, during my Kundalini awakening, after I did my sovereignty spell with candles lit for infernals all round, and some for 3 for me for a new crown. Oh, yeah. Before all that in astral spaces, I would speak and I would dance and I would sing. I would travel because that was what I've always done since I was a child. So after my sovereignty spell in March, I moved into Kundalini awakening. I was forced into ego death and astral space. I stumbled in front of gods and I almost fell on my face. I was given crowns and realms, not of humankind at all, but I accepted because I dug down deep into my shadow and healed myself without help, without someone to hold me, at least in physical. There was all spirit in me. When I went and ascended through sovereignty and consciousness, Kundalini awakening through movement and self-love, my body changed. My body changed. I couldn't eat things. My body would not hold it down. Nothing medical was wrong with me, but I would just eat something and I could not eat it. I was tired, but I couldn't sleep the same. I lost the weight immediately. It just changed everything. I went through an astral space after my Kundalini awakening. I'd have to look in the dark and say, this is not the end. It's not over until I say it is, and it's never over. I won't yield. I don't break. I don't bend. I don't bow. Unless I capitulate on parlay, I don't bow. I did that with everything. Sleep was the scariest thing I met, even though he knew me. But it was scary indeed. When I went through the awakening, it was a black orb I saw floating above and learning that consciousness is a stream of many different things, but they're all the same. The stream from the Christ consciousness and Kundalini awakening is just offspread into infernal consciousness, or so I like to call after the fall. Gods all have streams of consciousness within them, but people fight about who is right and who is wrong due to politics and beliefs and systems of belief through religion and what we're taught to believe without double thinking it, without reading it, without being critical about it. The problem is people don't trust Akua Quia. You know what that means? It means your intuition and the inner knowing, and I learned that through Dante and Purgatorio. We rationalize things sometimes at a fault. And rationalization is good, but sometimes it makes us misunderstand the things that we actually already know. Anyways, so I met sleep in dark spaces, and it was scary for me. The gods were even afraid of sleep, the ones that I knew. If demon kings are afraid of an entity, it kind of makes you pause to think why. So I had problems resting for a while, and then I allowed myself to do so. And when I did, I ended up in the dreaming realm, one that I knew very well. When I walked in, an entity came close. It was smoke. Not man, not woman, no face, no hands. He spoke to me and said that, well, he spoke to me in riddles and he tried to play some games. He tried to tell me to test me to give up my sovereignty and my power to him. I did not. I was scared, but that was an afterthought. I looked him in the face in his eyes and said, I don't bend, I don't bow, I don't break. You can't take me. You won't have me. I am my own. After that, he respected me and he let me roam his realm. And he allowed me to do whatever I wanted. The next time I came into the sleep's domain after that, and it wasn't just rest and dreams, I crowned him in his throne room. He crowned me. The first, he gave me titles to give away to others to protect them. And then I came back to sleep's domain and I made a space. He let me change the dreaming forever. He would wrap me in enveloping sleep and rest every night for months. He would tell me to sit in silence and allow myself to feel and think, integrate my lessons and learn things I learned in quiet and understanding. So many people have problems sleeping, but it's because you aren't granted the ability to sleep because you have lessons that you need to review in the dreaming. If you don't learn it in the waking, you have to revisit it consciously, subconsciously. It's learning on another plane of reality. The waking and the dreaming consciousness are not the same, but they function in the exact same way. That's why there's a bleed through from reality to reality so that you can actually process the things so that you can be where you need to be. And then there's the overlap between dreaming and astral space and realm walking, and people don't understand the difference. It's a lot to process and explain. Sleep entails like the Idyll and Virgil and things like that. If you look up Arcadia, you can find it, I promise. It talks about him. And in that time, in Greek mythology, there were many entities considered sleep hypnosis. Nyx was associated with night and Selene the moon, but it doesn't say those names in these texts. It says rest and sleep and death. If poets of old are speaking a name, a nameless being, a nameless face, and many of them do the same thing, there's a reason for that. Because it has a place. All I know is that once sleep came to me fully and introduced himself after challenging me, once I vowed to him and he vowed to me, life has changed drastically. Those around me that challenge me, I pull back sleep with full capacity because sleep uh, is tenacity. And if you anger him, you got the audacity because he will make sure that you will not sleep at ease, even when I tell him to not. Um, I can't control him, you see. It's like not like a child, but you can't control another entity, another being, right? Not if you actually care for them and they care for you. You don't make them do things. You don't persuade them. You ask and you accept or you deny. There is no yes, there is no maybe, there's only yes and no. And if sleep feels like something's going to happen, even if I don't say so and he does it, I can't call it back. And that's for any entity. I don't chain with chains or summoning circles, you see. I use their name. I call their name and they come to me. I don't come to them. I speak their name and the door opens and they enter. It's always been like that for me, actually. That doesn't mean it's going to be like that for you, but that just means that's my reality. So, sleep came to me in Sovereignty. He gifted me things in astral space. I met entities and realms of his place. I danced in the rain. I sang and I moved. And there was an edge of the world. A place to rest or lie or move in a throne room behind the dais. There was daggers and rain, flowers and threads and fire. Infernia, Arcadia, the dreaming, astral space, gifts, inevitable, the time and a place. But when you wake from all that time and space, everything stays there unless there's an overlay. And even then, it's like whispers, foxtrotting on your skin. Am I speaking in rhyme or poetry? That wasn't my intent, you see. I literally just told sleep to come forward and speak through me. And now I can't stop, or so it seems, that this reality has reams. Rolls of paper endlessly written contents. A reality. Coded words and threaded fate. Intermingled through science and philosophy. Think about religion, you see. Sacred geometry. The Holy Trinity. Dante went through hell, Purgatorio, and Paradiso to find Beatrice. He sang, he spoke, he was guided and in pain. I started there. I just had to say, Dante wasn't considered insane. He was considered a poet. He was considered a singer. He was considered an artist, you see. And then from there, I jumped into Virgil. Now I'm on Theocratus. I wrote cantos about my awakening. I talked about the gods in my court, Asmodeus, Belial, Lucifer, Asheroth, Sleep, Loki. Asmodeus, Belial, Lucifer, Asheroth, Sleep, Loki. Jesus is there, and so is Michael and Circe and Hecate, Boone, ancestors. That's the thing, right? I talk about all of this, but some people would say it was a lie, a vivid daydream, a fantasy, a game. But my mythology has reality all the same. If you can read a Bible that was written after these mythologies in Grecian times, after Sumerian texts, not written in lines, and you believe in that, so what difference is mine? And I've done the research, and I've spoken in rhyme. That's my truth. I met Sleep before I even knew his name. He held me, he protected me, all the same. And then after all of that, he continued to come. Even through trickery and pain. But after I crowned him, things changed. There's a kindness, sweetness, but almost bittersweet, because his absence feels like smoke in the reality. It's not enveloping anymore. It's just a little empty. He comes and goes as he pleases, because you don't control entities if you actually care to know them. So if you stayed this long, cool. If not, Loki says you're a fool.